our path to adding fractions with unlike denominators. We're going to make another stop on the road, and that is converting improper fractions, fractions with a larger numerator and a smaller denominator, to mixed numbers. And we're going to actually sneak in going both directions, converting improper fractions to mixed numbers and converting mixed numbers to improper fractions. The easiest way to start out teaching this is to remember that this symbol is the same as this symbol. You know that meme that floats around or whatever? I need to tell the difference between this picture and that picture. They're the same picture. They are the same picture. In other words, fractions are the same as division. And that is really important that we stick that in our brains, because that is how we deal with these problems. So converting from improper fraction to mixed number, that's where we're going to start. Improper to mixed number. Mixed number. Ran out of space, put a dot, number. That'll work out fine. You can write in an actual reasonable handwriting size on your paper, but we'll be fine, right? So doing that, we'll start out with good grief. Example 1. Example 1 is going to be taking, let's say, 46 over 5. Okay, we want to convert this improper fraction to a mixed number. So what we do is we just divide. It's that simple. It's really, really easy. We've been doing long division for a long time, and so that's all we're really going to do. The one that goes in the house is going to be the one on top. So the one on top goes in the house. The one on the bottom, the denominator, goes out on the porch, right? So then we're going to do division. 5 goes into 4, 0 times. 5 goes into 46, 9 times. 9 times 5 is 45. Now, if this content today, if this lesson today is brand spanking new, then it's possible that it's probable and possible that all you've known how to do at this point is to say 9, remainder 1, circle it, and move on with your life. Well, it's not quite that simple, but almost. So when we're doing things, it's, for the most part, from now on, we're never going to write remainder again. There are a couple of applications for remainders, but they're way on down the road. And so we're going to be less interested in them. We want to write our answer as either a fraction or as a decimal. And so and we're focusing on fractions specifically in this unit, and so we're going to write our answer as a fraction. So once we've gotten down to the end and there's nothing more to divide, if it's not 0, then we have a mixed number as our final answer. And so what we do is we say 9 and we put this number on top and this number out here on the bottom. So our answer to 46 fifths as a mixed number is 9 1/5. Let's do another example. Example number 2. Let's do 228 thirteenths. We'll make it a little trickier, because why save all the tricky ones for the homework? That seems sketchy, doesn't it? So we're going to do the same thing to this guy. We're going to divide just like we did on the first example. And actually, I'm looking at this and looking at this long division and thinking I probably don't have enough space. So let me pop this in here and move it so I have enough space, because we don't want ugliness. Paper's cheap. It's a good plan. So the one in the house is the numerator. The one on top, 228. The one on the porch is the denominator. 13 goes into 2, 0 times, none times. And so we go into 22. 13 goes into 22 just once. 1 times 13 is, of course, 13. Now we've got to subtract that. Now when we subtract here, of course, we've got to borrow. So we're going to borrow from the 2 and turn it into a 1. And this 2 into a 12. 12 minus 3 is 9. Excuse me. 9. And then we've got to bring down the 8. Now this one, we almost certainly need some scratch paper. Now you may have, if you've taken my secondary suggestion to heart, you may have your 13s memorized, but more than likely you probably don't have them all the way memorized. If you do, that's great. Then you can just probably skip the scratch paper bit of this and just move on. But since I'm guessing that's probably not true, let's do this. So what are we going to guess? Well, 13 times 9 is probably going to be way too much, right? Because that's not going to go. So let's try 8 and see what happens. So 13 times, ooh, weird. 13 times 8. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 2 is 10. That's bigger than 98, so we went too far. So we need to go down. That's close. So let's just go down 1, right? Scratch paper for the win. It's a good plan. We like scratch paper. Scratch paper is your friend. Don't erase your scratch paper. 3 times 7 is 21. 1 times 3 is 7, plus 2 is 9. So we end up with 91. So that works. We're good to go there. So we're going to put a 7 right here and a 91 right there. 98 minus 1 is 7. Now we're at the end, so we're going to do the same thing. Instead of putting remainder 7, we're just going to do 17 and 7. That's this number over 13, which is that one on the port. So you see that the denominators stay the same from beginning to end. Okay, so that is our examples of converting an improper fraction to a mixed number. What if we want to go the other way around, which we may want to do, especially when we get to multiplying and dividing fractions. Multiplying fractions is much easier if we have an improper fraction than it is with a mixed number. And so let's look at converting from, oh no, I did do it right. Mixed number, from a mixed number to an improper fraction. We've already written that word, so I'm going to, for the sake of brevity, I'm going to shorten it to imp. Mixed number to improper fraction. How's that sound? Great. Whether it does or doesn't, I've got the pen, so there it is. Here we go. So this is example, 4? Probably? Nope. It's example 3. Example 3. We're going to go the other way around. So what if we have 5 and 5/6? Still hate that number. It's okay. So 5 and 5/6. How do we convert that to an improper fraction? Well, we multiply and then we add. Okay, that's how we do it. It's really, really straightforward. So you multiply and then add. Now, I recommend doing this in 2 steps. I want you to do it in your different color, and I want you to do all these pieces, because there's an intermediate piece out here that is easy to forget. I've seen lots of people make this mistake, and so in order to help you not make this mistake, I want you to write this step this way. Okay, so 5 times 6 is, of course, 30. So that's the intermediate step I want you to do, is I want you to actually write that number down, right? Because if you don't, you're liable to make a mistake. So 5 times 6 is 30, and then we add this numerator. And so we end up with 30 plus 5, which is 35. We won't do this on both. You notice the denominator stays the same. The denominator always stays the same on these problems, right? We won't always do this, but just to kind of prove, case in point, we won't do this on our second example of these. But if we were to convert the other way around and do 6 into 35, we should get 5 and 5/6. Let's see. 6 goes in 3, 0 times. 6 goes into 35, 5 times, because 5 times 6 is 30. 35 minus 30 is 5. We're at the end, so 5 and 5, 6. Voila, it works out great. Let's do one more example of converting mixed number to improper fraction, and then we're going to be done with this lesson. So let's do 12 and 17 35ths. That way we get more practice with some two-digit stuff. So we're going to do the same thing. Same plan here. We are going to multiply and then add. And we're going to write down our intermediate number up here so we don't forget to add that one plus this guy, right? So 35 times 12, we probably need some scratch paper for that because that's a little bit crazy-fied. So my scratch paper space is again in your margin or an entirely new sheet of paper. Let's do 35 times 12. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. When we move to the next digit, we scratch and add 0. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 3 is 3. Now we're going to add it up. 0 plus 0 is 0. 7 plus 5 is 12. We've got to carry that 1 up there, right? So, and we put the 2 down here. 1 plus 3 is, of course, 4. So the number we're going to put out here is 420, right? Then, that kind of looks like a 6, doesn't it? Let me try again, use my handy dandy eraser, or in my case, the undo button, and fix that. So 420 plus 17 is, in fact, 437. Therefore, 12 and 17 35ths is 437 35ths. That is converting between mixed numbers and improper fractions and improper fractions to mixed numbers. We will see you in the next lesson. We're almost done with this unit. It's gone amazingly well. Hope you've enjoyed it. See you next time. Bye-bye.